Good morning from South Louisiana. This is Darla Lejean with Real Broker. I am mostly an agent in South Louisiana in the Acadiana region, but if you're anywhere in Louisiana and you're thinking about selling and you do not have a local agent that you know, like, and trust, give me a call. I'd love to help you. Let's talk today about buyers and house hunting. Today is one of my favorite days. I absolutely love seeing what's out and about on the local market. I love seeing how other agents have worked with their sellers to prepare their homes to hit the market. Sometimes it's exciting, but sometimes it's quite eye-opening. It's quite sometimes pretty sad, actually. It's very obvious when a realtor has taken the time with their sellers to make sure that they know what kinds of things are going to help sell their house. And it's quite obvious when they have just stuck a sign in the front yard and called it a day. So anyway, today I'm working with buyers, and working with buyers is totally different from working with sellers. Working with buyers, if I'm working with you, this is what's going to happen. First of all, you will have already been pre-approved. You will know your loan type. You will know your budget. My goal is to always maximize the time that you and I have together. So we're not going to waste my time. We're not going to waste your time. It's going to be a valuable time, which means if you're paying cash, you have proof of funds and you know exactly how much money you're willing to spend. And if you are pre-approved, you know your loan type, you know your max budget, you know what your note's going to look like. So in other words, if you say to me, my max budget is $700,000, I'm going to say to you, all right, and what kind of note do you feel comfortable paying? Is that in the $700,000 range? Because if you haven't had that conversation with your lender, then you might need to regroup and decide, okay, what does that note look like? Because it doesn't really matter how much you can get pre-approved for as a buyer. What matters is, are you willing to pay that amount of money? That's a totally different situation. So you may be able to get pre-approved for, let's say, $300,000, but when you say to the lender, what does that note look like each month? And remember, that's your mortgage, that's your house note, that is your insurance, and that is also the flood insurance if you're in anywhere that requires flood insurance. And that is your taxes, your yearly property taxes. So knowing that those three things go into one note, what note do you feel comfortable paying? And I always say to people, listen, when you go to get pre-approved, first of all, check with your local realtor who you know, like, and trust, and get them to recommend the top lenders in the area. But once you have the conversation with the lender, what you need to say is this. This is the maximum note that I feel comfortable paying per month. And do not allow a lender to pre-approve you for more than that. So if it's this number, don't get pre-approved for something that's more than that number, all right? So you're pre-approved, or you know how much money you have in the bank if you're paying cash. Then, this is what I'm going to say to you, and listen, I do it differently than other realtors. I am absolutely not a mind reader. And you may say to me, my budget is $500,000. I want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home on a couple of acres. Listen, I may like the home. You may not like anything about the home. So what I would say to people is this. Go online, go to realtor.com, go to Zillow, go to Trulia, go to all those places where homes are listed, and find the homes that are in your budget. Send me the addresses. I am then going to do all the research on them to see, have they had any flood damage? Have they had any hurricane damage? Has it ever had any foundation issues? How old is the roof? All those kinds of things I'm going to find out ahead of time. And then you're going to decide, do you for sure want to go look at those houses? If there are any major red flags, I'm going to alert you to them beforehand so that you're not wasting your time going look at the house. What lots of people don't realize is, listen, the whole state of Louisiana is in a flood zone, all right? The whole state of Louisiana is in a flood zone. But if you're in zone X, and think about Xing out the flood insurance, that's how I always think about it. You're not required by your by the insurance company to have flood insurance. Now, it is recommended, of course, by all insurance companies that you have flood insurance if you're anywhere in Louisiana, but it's not a mandatory thing. Now, if you're in any other zone, if you're in A, if you're in AE, if you're in V, you absolutely must have flood insurance if you have a mortgage. If you're paying cash, you absolutely do not have to. So those are some things to keep in mind. So as we're looking at houses, some people may say to me, I absolutely do not want to look at any houses that are in a zone that flood insurance is required. So then if you send me a gorgeous house, it's a great price. If it's in a zone that requires flood insurance, we're not even going to look at it if that's one of your non-negotiables. So keep that in mind. So today, for example, I'm going to show houses to people within their budget, within their pre-approval range, everywhere from Crowley all the way to the other side of Lafayette, which is kind of like the Youngsville, Broussard area. About 8 to 10 homes today. So we're starting at 8 a.m. this morning in Crowley, and we're going to circle back to Crowley probably at the end of the day. But what I'm going to have them do is try to narrow down the list of houses to their top 3. Then, once they pick their top 3, if they want to go back and look at those top 3 houses again, then we absolutely have the time to do that, and we will make the time to do that. Listen, if they look at 8 to 10 houses and there is just not the house that they feel like is the house for them, then we're going to keep looking. But I'll tell you, the average buyer looks at about 5 houses and then chooses a house. That's normally what I find. People don't, at least I don't find that people look at houses forever and ever and ever and ever. At least not with me, because listen, I will tell you, I don't have that kind of patience. There are realtors that I know of that have been showing people houses for years and years and years. Listen, I'm not doing it. I just don't have to do that. So buyers are going to know ahead of time what are their non-negotiables. I'm pulling over right here for a minute, guys, because the internet, I know I'm about to lose. Well, I can't. Somebody's home. All right, if I lose you, I'm sorry, but I'll come back at another time. So as a buyer, number one, first and foremost, is